All right. So here we are. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about sales. The number one thing that I hear from my members and this community is that we need more leads. I'm bringing on the woman who is everything about leads, getting them online, getting them organized, making sure you know what to do with them. And that is the fantastic Dotty Scott. I know some of you know her already. She is amazing. She really understands what small business owners and solopreneurs like us need. She's been working with businesses. Is it 17 years now?
It is 19.
Wow, wow, wow. The reason that I love what you do, Dottie, is because you create websites. You're award-winning WordPress designer, but you also have all the tools to put it all together. Like we said a couple days ago, I can't remember who it was who said it, might have been Ray, but who said, I have all these great ideas, but it's building those funnels and building the things that need to go with it. So first, I know we're going to get into that. And that's the thing that stops everybody is getting all that stuff done and connecting all the dots so everything works together. But let's first talk about the first step and the first thing you need. Who was I talking to the other day that we're going to do a coaching session? Gail's an organizer and Gail is creating a website. And she said to me, let's have our coaching session after I complete the website. And I said, well, that sounds really good, but there are certain things you need to have on that website that I see that people don't put on there. And number one is a lead magnet. So Dottie, share with us a little bit about what's a good lead magnet.
There's so much I would like to unwrap in what you just said.
I know. So start rapping, stand on rapping.
And before you do a funnel, you have to have a reason to do a funnel, which is the lead magnet. And before you do the lead magnet, you have to have a way that people see and recognize and know that they need your services. You have to have visibility. Otherwise, your lead magnet is just going to sit there on your website and do nothing. But to answer your question directly, a lead magnet solves a problem. Whatever the problem is, can you create an answer to those problems? And that is your lead magnet. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, and this is one of my lead magnets, is one of the problems is when someone's doing a website, they have no idea what is involved. They don't know what they need to supply. They don't know what they need to get together. Like you were saying, I often tell people you need to go to a business coach first and then come to me because then you're going to know what is even going to be on your website.
Yeah.
So I put together a lead magnet that is a getting ready to get your website done checklist. I don't remember what I called it, but it was basically the list of everything that you would provide any website designer, or even if you were doing the project yourself. And it forces you to think about what you need so that you're organized enough to be efficient for whomever you're using. And by the way, efficiency equates into cheaper prices a lot of times. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that's a lead magnet. Is there something that makes your job easier that somebody needs to have together before they hire you? It's been a fantastic lead magnet for me. Other lead magnets types could be videos. Have you done a webinar or a workshop or a class that you recorded on film? Could you take a piece of that out and put it up as a lead magnet? Again, solving a problem. So go back to that list of problems. And if you can solve a problem for somebody once, don't you think they're going to ask you to solve another problem again? And now they're going to hire you. So that lead magnet is designed to have the person get a taste or feel of what it's like to work with you or what it's like to be in existence with your knowledge to sit in that space with you so that they're more comfortable to use your services when they're ready. I want to share an untraditional lead magnet that I did when I started my business. I guarantee 100% it will work for you. The reason I stopped doing it is because my business got to a point where I had too much business for me, and I was not yet ready to bring on VAs and outsource any of that. So this year, I'm actually going back to this.
Yeah.
Because now I'm ready for that flow again. So are you
Right.
ready to know what this is, Trish?
Uh,
So when I first started, I knew nobody and I went to networking events like crazy. So what I decided to do is I would do a tip a week. It was before cell phones. I used a camera to record these and I sent them out via email. I also put them up on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Those were the only three that were in existence back when I was doing this. And I would go to networking events, and it took about a month or so for me to see a result from this. So typically what I would do is I'd go to a networking event, I would stand off to the side, I'd see all these people talking in little cliquey groups, and I felt really awkward, and it was hard for me to break into that group, okay? After a month or two of sending out these emails, and the way I grew my list to send the emails was from all the business cards I got from these networking events.
So let me make sure I'm clear. These were video emails that you were sending,
Yes.
and it was a 2-minute tip,
No, 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 to 60 seconds. Some
Yeah.
of them were 30 to 45 seconds.
Love it.
And it was an email that sent out, it was up on YouTube, and it was a link in the email and a sentence or two at the most. Okay. I would send these out to the people who forced their business cards on me at all of these networking events. They started coming up to me at these networking events and they would say, Dotty, I loved that tip. It helped me so much. And 90% of the time, I had no idea who they were, no idea what they did, and no idea what video they were talking about because it could have been anything that I had sent out. And they started coming up to me, which made networking fun. Now I had something to talk about because they just watched something. Another thing I would get is people would come up to me and they'd be like, Dotty, you are everywhere.
Why? You're just in their email.
Exactly. Their email and I'm on their Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. But the impression was I was everywhere. And actually, until today, Trish, I never equated this as a lead magnet, but it was
Absolutely.
best lead magnet I ever did. That's why I'm going to do it again, because now I have the time and the capacity and I have a team of people I work with. So I'm not to that wall where I was before. But this is the strategy that got me to the wall where I could take no more business.
Which is great because when you get there, then you figure out, okay, it's going to cost me this much to let the money out of my hand and let somebody else help me so I can sell more. Sell more.
And for all of you that are out there that are saying, oh my God, I cannot make these videos. I can't send something out a week. I did 20 of them at a time. I took a Friday and in the morning, I recorded them all. And in the afternoon, I cut them all up and made them into single videos. Very little editing. Okay. You could spend an hour trying to get a 30-second video perfect, or you could say, dang, I wish I hadn't have said that and re-record it and it takes you 30 seconds.
Did you really keep it to 30 seconds?
I did. I did. And it's because I said the problem and then I said a solution, one solution, that's it. If there's more solutions, it's another video. And the way that I at least started this process is I had a running list on my desktop and then I moved it into Evernote. When someone called me, they had a problem. I wrote it down. whatever that was. So when I was done with a consultation with a random person that would call me wanting a website, I had a list of whatever their issues were, because I knew if one person called me, there's 100 people out there that haven't called me that have the same problem. So that's how I started my list of what I needed to talk about.
So what we're talking about is list building here as well at the same time. So she's listening to her customers, listening to her prospects, paying attention to all of the things they say are a problem for them. I know this sounds so fundamental, and it is, but this is where you get all of your sales language, because you're going to use the language that they used with you. So the next thing is you get this great lead magnets, or you have multiple lead magnets. You are doing networking. You're getting people into your list by having them opt into your different things. Your checklist is a great thing for people to get. And then the next thing is you have to manage all those leads.
Yes.
I'm talking about the process. Like, how do you stay on track? How do you know who's the next person to call? And where do you go from here?
This is one advantage of using someone who learned her business skills by trial and error. In the beginning, it was very difficult, but I started using at first MailChimp, and then I hit walls in what it could do, and I got kicked out of one. I could share that story with you. So I got kicked out of a CRM, and then I was like, I'm just going to do this myself. Not good advice. Then I went to Keep, and it was so overwhelming and confusing, and I'm a techie person, and I couldn't. You're using Infusionsoft or Keep, and you're like, I just don't get it. You're not alone.
The name Infusionsoft. So first it was known as Infusionsoft, it was known as Keep, but we called it Confusionsoft.
I know. I mean, Infusionsoft, doesn't that sound like a medical treatment?
Yeah.
And it feels like a medical treatment when you try to use it.
I know that a CRM gives you all of the pieces you need and connects them. So I write the email or I create the video that's a tip, and then I create the email sequence around it. So there's MailChimp, which is free. There's Constant Contact. That's a paid service, but that's another one people move to.
It's really low cost.
Really low cost. So if I could get into a CRM for under $100, but isn't there a disconnect when you're using like Aweber to MailChimp?
One of the reasons I got out of Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp, Vertical Response, which I don't even know if they're around anymore, is because they do one thing and they do it really well, but they do one thing. And my business grew to the point where I wanted an automatic calendar where people could schedule appointments and I could have a workflow that delivers everything. And I didn't want to use a separate system. That's one piece. I want everything in one place for simplicity and ease. So I personally use Go High Level. I've used them about 4 years now. And it has everything I need plus more, which is really cool. So like Trish, you were saying in Keep or Infusionsoft that you have, you're not using all of its capacity. The reality is, if you're going to get a system and you're going to use all the capacity right away, you might as well get a system that can grow with you, because there's no room to grow. And that was the problem I had with MailChimp and Constant Contact and all of those, is they weren't going to grow. As I grew, they needed me to change into a new system, which is why I got kicked out of one system, by the way. Migrating systems, there's a method to it, and there's things you don't want to do. And I learned that the hard way, that you don't want to do. But anyway, back to your question of how do I manage the leads coming in? I now have a system and a pre-built workflow.
Right.
So when someone gets a lead magnet from me, like one of the ones I have right now that it seems to be really popular is how do you manage and grow your Google business profile?
Yeah.
That's another big mystery out there in marketing. So I created a lead magnet around that, and it has everything you need to do for managing your Google business profile. Along with that is an email sequence, I think of a 7, I think, emails, and it's one for each point that's on that lead magnet. So it goes in more in depth into whatever that point was. To keep people on track, that's my thought,
Right.
is because a lot of people will download something. I'm guilty of this. I downloaded it, I thought I wanted it, I never read it. So what was the point? So by keeping your person that downloaded it engaged, by revealing parts of the lead magnet in an email like once a week or so, it gets them back to, oh yeah, I didn't read that. Maybe I need to go back to read that. Here's this. Let me just do this because that's right in front of me right now. So it's not just the lead magnet, it's what you do after that. Because you have to bring that person from, I think I want this, I'm going to go ahead and download it, to, I need to use her or him for whatever it is.
Yeah.
I need to hire her to make my life easier in this piece.
Yeah.
It was a lot, I know.
No, I got it. I got it. So there's two things. One is we've been talking about connecting things and the things that are disconnected. So regardless of what systems you use, whatever or issues you run into, Dotty has a membership that is askdotty.com.
Yes, it is.
And Ask Dotty is the greatest place to get all the answers to your questions. You got stuck somewhere, it keeps you going. She trains you on how to blog. What are some of the topics you do every month? You do it every month, you do a masterclass.
Yes, this month it was on customizing ChatGPT to be more efficient for you.
Yeah.
Last week or the week before, we had almost, I couldn't believe this, almost a 45-minute discussion on calendar and how to connect them up and how to make them work for you and just all of the problems that everybody was having. It was weird that everybody had the same issue.
But I know from calendars myself, I want a calendar that, so I used to have time trade, and then I would have to take the calendar appointment and put it on my Google Calendar. And then I would have to put it in my CRM so that when I made notes, so I had to do all of that manually. And that takes time.
It takes your attention away from what you do to make money.
Exactly. You just got a huge diamond when she said, email them after the lead magnet to give them a little bit of what's in there so that you're dripping on them what you already gave them so that they stay engaged. That was huge. If you're just letting them get the lead magnet and maybe your email says, hey, did you like your lead magnet? Buy this now. No.
A piece of that, Trish,
Yeah.
is you don't put all of your gems in the lead mag. You save some of them for that email sequence because the email sequence honestly is what's going to engage them. It's not your lead.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. You know, Dottie is unique in that she has the technical knowledge and she also has the marketing and sales knowledge. And most designers don't have that. Dottie also goes beyond web design and she gets you connected so that you're marketing, not just creating a pretty web page.
I just wanted to rave about the WPN, like a beautiful community, because look at everyone. Everybody has their gift and talent, and how it is so beautiful when we connect with each other because we can learn and grow so much. And I'm in Dottie's membership for probably over a year, right? Now, Dottie.
A year and a half by now.
Yeah, and I love every time because every time I come with the question, because I love to have these questions answered, and Dottie just gives me such a great feedback on everything, whether this is designing the page, what colors are better, how it's all have to lay out, because we don't know it all. And it's great when you have that expert who works in that area and can actually help you, right? Now we are just like, we were just looking at the website and I was like, okay, what's in the blog? Can I use my mini trainings? And that is so full of ideas. And the best part, you also have amazing souls inside of that community. And it creates that mastermind because sometimes we go even off topics where we talk about, okay, this is something I'm dealing on my business level. give some tips, tools, or anything else. So this is super powerful and I love every moment of it. So thank you so much, Dottie.
Oh,
Thank you, Irina. You are
Yeah.
such an engaged member.
Yes, it really is. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So the bottom line is on your marketing, it's got to be a lead magnet that gets people to say, I want that. You're not going to give away all your secrets in the lead magnet. And you're going to follow up after that lead magnet with more communication to continue to nurture the relationship. If you got nothing out of this conversation but that, that's a diamond. That's a diamond.